I'm Patrick Bailey with iQList. Today is June 11th, 2022, and in this video I'm going to show off another redo I did of the T-Rex skull, but this time instead of putting a thread here at the bottom like I've done in the past, I'm going to put a thread here at the back of the skull. Okay, so here's the T-Rex skull where I put the thread on the back. Now in the recent past, if anyone's familiar with this one, which is done by MakerBot originally, you know, they had a notch down here. And I did a couple things. I went through an OpenScad and filled it in, and then I also put a another version where there's a thread down there, and then I kind of made a new mounting system for it, so that worked just fine. But then I've been thinking lately, wouldn't it be nice to figure out some way to mount this, kind of like you mount a deer head or something on the wall, but then I'd have to go through here, and it wouldn't be at quite the right angle I would like. So I was debating about that. But then I kind of looked back here and I was like, I had another need and for something else, and I was like, oh, you know what, I can put a whole, there's this giant flat circle spot right back here. So basically, I put this hole here, and I haven't done anything with it except for just make it. I think there's a potential a lot of other people could make some kind of designs, like to hold this onto something. And just to let everyone know, compared to the MakerBot one, this is, I think, 120% size of the original. Just to kind of make it, you know, relatively big, a little bit bigger so that it can print just fine on the Mini or on the i3 Mark III, on the Prusa Mini. So there's that, and it threads through just fine. And I haven't printed the jaw for this, I just haven't had time, so, but we'll get this, this will be posted out there, I'll put links, and we'll talk over the details and talk over it, but I think I'll put that out there for anyone who wants to go kind of fiddle with this and see what you can attach it to. There's probably some neat ideas out there. Okay, let's show some URLs and go over the numbers I have. So the first URL here is where I posted on Printables, and go download it right now. And hopefully people can have some creative ideas on what they can do and how they can attach it to a wall or a car, who knows. I got some ideas, but we'll see what I do in the next few weeks on those. And then here's just the T-Rex skull that I've done that's compatible. Same thing, I should say same thing. Just no holes in it. It's got the nub complete, but that's what it's based on. We're just taking that where we filled in the other hole, and we've made this new hole, and we put that thread in it. So with that, let's go over the numbers as best I can. I didn't have time to properly film this with the time lapse. And speaking of, at some point, you know, my time lapses are there's something to watch in the background. They're okay, but I do love the ones that Prusa does, and a few other ones where they actually do the stop, where they put it in a position, stop with a camera, and take that. At some point I hope to do that, but I'm nowhere near between time and money to have the chance to go do that. But at some point, hopefully, I wake up a year from now, and I hope to have a setup like that at some point, because those time lapses where it's growing, you know, it takes a picture each layer. Those are just, they look really cool and really professional. Someday, I might get there. But in this one, I apologize, I didn't have time to get the poor time lapse done. But with that, we're going to go over the numbers I have roughly. So to do and this comes in two pieces. So to do the top piece, top piece, in traditional, here I'm kind of thinking 0.8 nozzle because I've been doing 0.8 too much recently. But this is just 0.4 nozzle, 0.15 layer height. Took 18 hours and 29 minutes to print. I don't have electricity with me, but it also weighs 0.126 kilograms at $20 per kilogram. Comes out to 252. So about 255 roughly to print this if I kind of throw in some electricity in there. And then for the jaw, because you need the jaw, there's nothing different about the jaw. The jaw is the same jaw as the other one. Nothing's changed because there's no holes in it. 7 hours and 55 minutes. Electricity, I didn't look it up, but I could have cheated. And it weighs 0.054 kilograms, $20 per kilogram, comes out to $1.08. So all in for the jaw is $1.10. So all in, and my numbers are a little off because again I didn't have electricity counted correctly. We're talking about $3.60. So under $4 you can have this printed at this size, and it fits on the Mini. It fits on the i3 Mark III just fine. Well, I didn't. Let's go back over here. I didn't account for this in the calculations, but I also did, for convenience, put a bolt out here. So you can see right here, there's 1, 2, and 3. 3 is a bolt, which is an example, so you can look at it as an M20 by 2.5, so you can make your own. That's just the measurements, but you can use that one. And I also, because if you have not done threading in 3D printing, what I find is once you print it, because sometimes your angles or this or that, you end up having to tap it a little bit. And for those who are unfamiliar with that term, you can tap a thread. There's tools out there, you can go look it up, where you tap a thread and basically have a tool in there that kind of cuts the thread out. So the thread is not perfect, neither the bolt nor the thread inside, but together, when you kind of turn them all together, you kind of have to work it back and forth a little bit, and just the plastic itself kind of cleans up the thread. You don't need an actual tap, a metal tap, although that might work, but who's going to get a giant tap like this? I've got a set of taps, but I don't have one this big, or metric. Do I have any metric ones? I'd have to think. But also, this is so big that I decided to make a little socket adjuster, because I don't have a socket wrench, this big. So I just printed this out, which is a little bit bigger, which will hold on to it. And then at the top, we've got it's a 15 millimeter socket. Will hold it just fine. And I've got one here, just to help you, to give you some more leverage, to kind of work it back and forth and get it, done. I mean, you don't have to print it out, but I just thought I'd put it up there for convenience. So there's that guy. And hopefully some people will take this and do some interesting things with it over the years, because I think you could do something. I mean, definitely the obvious one is, put it like in a deer mount. I don't know what that's necessarily called, the taxidermy thing where you kind of mount on the wall, and that's, on my agenda. But I think there's some other interesting things you could do with it too. But more attachments, more better. We'll see how that goes. Okay, with that, let's wrap this up with a reminder that 3D printing is an engineering adventure that you're on. You can develop your skills and knowledge, and you can take this in so many ways. You can make a business out of this. You can teach others, and you can make some interesting, amazing designs. So design it, engineer it. A few days into using my extended spool holder have been successful. An image of it is at the end of this video. It does shake a little, but if there's a lot of motion on the heating bed, but not too much. So far, it's working, and I think it solved my problem. But staring at it, I think I have yet another idea on how to make it better. So we'll see what happens here in the next month if I do yet another redesign.